Hello and welcome to Euromonitor International's podcast series discussing global trends in industries, economies, and consumers. I'm your host, Peter Cosmo, and today I'm joined by Gayatri Basin, Head of Research, and Mark Alonso, Senior Analyst. Mark, Gayatri, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Pete.
Thanks, Pete.
So today I wanted to talk to both of you about growing signs of digital fatigue and how these signs can coexist with increased digital reliance. So right now, obviously, we're in an era of unprecedented digital acceleration, and it seems we're constantly staring at screens, on video calls, buying things online. Would you say the COVID-19 pandemic has pushed this digital acceleration forward?
Well, Pete, the aftermath of the COVID-19 lockdowns and quarantines across many parts of the world has been characterized by stark tensions. Behavioral tensions and responses ranging from empathy and a growing sense of community to a me first attitude of self interest, risk aversion to compulsive behavior, so from cautious spending and less stuff to indulgent spending and comfort clutter. These choices and behaviors vary from individual to individual. However, what I think is more interesting is that we see consumers engaging with both sides of the trend. So, for example, being risk averse in their health behaviors, but throwing caution to the wind when it comes to spending and investment, buying a few NFTs, perhaps. This is particularly true of digital fatigue in an age of digital reliance. So, starting with an exploration of what digital fatigue means for business and consumers alike, we're bringing you a series of podcasts exploring how the 2020s are increasingly seeing the emergence of megatensions rather than megatrends, contradictions defining consumer behavior in Western Europe.
That's right. Thanks, Gayatri. So, Peter, if we begin with the acceleration of digital trends that you initially asked about, in 2020, this largely emerged from extensive lockdowns. Europeans simply had to go digital, be it to maintain physical health through apps and activity trackers due to gym closures, to work effectively as it turned fully remote for many, or just to maintain some sort of social interactions in a time of increased isolation. So, this unexpected digital reliance we've been experiencing across Europe has shown a light on societal and generational differences in online usage and attitudes. Although the pandemic has seen a high number of elderly population venture into the world of digital platforms for new entertainment sources, social connections, health advice, and of course, shopping. Equally, it has made younger generations more aware of the costs of digital overexposure and the experience of digital fatigue.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. So let's start talking about digital fatigue. So, can you discuss a little about how digitalization has developed in physical health? Because that's one of the most important areas of life at the moment.
Absolutely. As you suggested, concerns over personal health have been at the forefront of many people's minds throughout the pandemic, but this was a trend that we were already seeing before COVID arrived to Europe. Since the do's and don'ts of maintaining good health can be abstract or hard to maintain sometimes, many have turned to digitalized trackers to bridge this gap. This allows control over exercise, sleep, and nutritional intake to an otherwise impossible degree. 70% of European respondents to Euromonitor's lifestyle surveys claim to have used some sort of digital personalized nutrition analysis. So, wearables electronic has been growing steadily also over the past few years. Concerns over overall health during lockdowns prompted many consumers to purchase or upgrade their devices. Furthermore, we have been raising the importance of sleep and the effects that it has on general well being over the past few years. Busy lifestyles pre COVID and difficulty sleeping during lockdowns have also prompted a higher degree of focus on the tracking of sleep, as well as many products to ensure better quality of sleep through specific lighting or sounds. Over the next few years, we'd expect wearables and health trackers to continue to grow as technology advances and more features can be added to the products. This will help improve and personalize the sleep, nutrition, and exercise routines for consumers. Then, on the services side, digitalization has also increased the efficiency in which we can tackle various health concerns by linking us directly to GPs and medical professionals through virtual channels. So, this allows, again, unprecedented convenience in dealing with health issues, as well as faster access for patients to medical professionals, cutting the delays in visits and helping to minimize the risk for many of the patients. Throughout Europe, for example, social distancing measures saw many patients start using telemedicine whenever possible, um, and this helped to avoid large numbers of people at GP practices and hospitals. For example, over 50% of European respondents to Euromonitor's lifestyle survey received medical advice online or via an app in 2020. So we can expect these services to be maintained as it helps increase the efficiency, especially in low risk cases, and that allows us to place more resources to those higher risk cases.
So it sounds like the increased access to health trackers, at least at a personal level, it sounds like it can only be positive for consumers, as we're able to understand a lot more about health routines. However, Gayatri, we know that this increased screen time is also having its own effects. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. We're seeing a steady increase in the offering and sales of products targeted at combating the ill effects of digital exposure and screen time. This is most visible in the context of eye, sleep, and skin health. Blue light skincare is a burgeoning area of product development. Blue light, or high energy visible HEV light, is emitted by electronics with a screen, so your phone, your computer monitor, for example. Online beauty retailer Cult Beauty has a whole page dedicated to blue light skincare, mists, moisturizers, and serums fighting the detrimental effects of blue light, which is positioned in skincare terms as the new UV light. HEV light has also been linked to sleep disruption and the suppression of melatonin. We're seeing a real proliferation of sleep aids and sleep beauty products. While more screen time isn't the only cause of increased sleep disruption, stress, anxiety, and the lack of physical activity as a result of quarantine measures all play a role. And many sleep products aim to support relaxation, promote time away from screens, and focus on self care. These range from the beauty focused, so sleep masks, satin and silk pillowcases, essential oil pillow drops, and bath salts, to the more consumer health focused, so vitamins and dietary supplements that include CBD or magnesium to promote good sleep health. Focusing a bit more on consumer health, eye health is often related to digital fatigue, and dry eyes are an increasingly common consumer complaint as a result of increased screen time. According to Euromonitor's 2021 Health and Nutrition Survey, 32% of consumers in Western Europe reported experiencing dry eyes. In some countries like Germany, the proportion was as high as 40%. So, eye drops and other eye health products are increasingly visible in pharmacies and healthcare retailers across the region. And governments across Europe are supporting consumers to maintain eyewear purchases despite the economic downturn. So this year, the Italian government introduced a €50 voucher that can be used for a one-time purchase of eyeglasses or contact lenses. And a similar initiative was also introduced in France to make eyewear products more affordable for consumers, increasing the amount of reimbursement offered for prescription glasses through various care plans, which was previously as low as 5%.
So, how does digitalization play a role in mental health? I mean, I have to imagine the more plugged in we are, the more stressful our lives become.
That's right, Pete. We're increasingly seeing a love-hate relationship play out between consumers and the internet. Essential for our day-to-day lives, but also a key source of stress and anxiety. According to Euromonitor's lifestyle survey, 24% of German consumers believe that using the internet adds a great deal to their stress levels in 2021. This compared to 9% in 2016. While this increase was most notable in Germany, in other Western European markets such as France, UK, and Italy, a similar proportion of respondents, so 18 to 22%, agreed about the link between the internet and daily stress levels in 2021. And this was more pronounced in younger generations, those we associate with greater screen time, so Gen Z and millennials. Social media companies are responding to this desire for less screen time and increasing ways to limit usage. In 2020, Snapchat rolled out a mini app that offered meditations from Headspace in an effort to allow users to take time out while conveniently still remaining on the platform. 2 years ago, Instagram introduced the You're All Caught Up feature that lets users know that when they reach the end of their feed of posts to reduce the need for endless scrolling. And there are an endless number of apps, timers that block apps to reduce distractions or measure screen time, all working to encourage, support, shame, and even force users into reducing their screen time. Clearly, something many of us are looking for help with. A less explored aspect of our mental well being, but one that has come to the fore more in the context of pandemic lockdowns and quarantine measures, is the role of novelty in our lives. As human beings, we need novel experiences to exercise our curiosity. Digital engagement, particularly on the internet, is so heavily curated that it doesn't necessarily meet this need for novelty. The hyper-personalization of digital experiences leaves little room for happenstance, the chance occurrences and unexpected trajectories that define a lot of human experience, and more importantly, innovation. This lack of novelty can also drive a more abstract feeling of digital fatigue. And I think this relationship between digitalization, curation, and novelty, or lack thereof, is one that will be more widely explored in the context of our mental well being.
Yeah, if I may add to that, I think clearly in a bit of a double-edged sword situation when it comes to digitalization and mental health. It has become clear throughout the pandemic just how important digital platforms can be to help people maintain a daily routine close to what any of us would have called normal over a year ago. The rise in gaming platforms, for example, and the increased playing time by consumers is not only a result of extra free time, but rather a consequence of the need to socialize. Online games have witnessed exponential growth as consumers recognize the need to connect with friends and family over these platforms in a manner that offers more attentive engagement and a little bit more novelty, as Gayatri just mentioned, than simple video calls. Um, and the more important, without digital platforms such as Zoom and Teams, many people and businesses would not have been able to carry out their daily livelihoods, which would also have had detrimental effects to their psyche.
Since it's becoming clear that the digitalization of daily routines is kind of somewhat inevitable at this point, and at the same time, that's precisely what has an effect on the personal well being of individuals, what can we expect in the near future from these conflicting trends?
I think that's the question everyone's asking, Pete. And we're in an era where, as a society, we rely on digital products for the mundane, so ordering groceries, paying bills, to the exciting, so virtual reality gaming, dating apps, and health and well being is no different. So, health tracking will become more digitalized with wearables and other products being able to pack extra functionalities. So, we've seen recently that you can do blood oxygen tracking with the Apple Watch. Similarly, health appointments and advice from professionals will likely be conducting online more often in a bid to maximize efficiency. Alongside this, we'll see brand manufacturers explore opportunities that emerge from digital overexposure or fatigue, addressing the ill effects with health and beauty products, but also, I think, premiumizing the in person experience. We increasingly see a hybrid model where the online and the offline merge to offer a complete experience with each platform playing to its strengths. So, for example, online booking and triage, followed by an in person healthcare appointment. And this confluence of the digital and the physical is something we will continue to explore in this podcast series as we look at the next set of consumer contradictions, where the healthy living trend meets indulgence.
Well, Gayatri, Mark, it's been a very insightful discussion, and obviously we'll have to continue it pretty soon. But for now, I want to thank you both for coming on the podcast, sharing your insight with us. And for all those listening, remember you can find all of our multimedia, including podcasts, videos, and articles on our blog at blog.euromonitor.com.